The Knicks have a major problem. According to the latest reports, the Knicks bench is in crisis. Precious Achiuwa out with the strained left hamstring. Landry Shamet out with the dislocated shoulder. And now you can add Cam Payne to that list. According to the latest injury reports, Cam Payne is dealing with a hamstring injury, and he is doubtful for tonight's game against the Houston Rockets. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Cam Payne injures his hamstring. I don't even know what to say at this point. We are only a few games into the season, and we are already dealing with a number of injuries. Now, this one, I'm not going to put on Tom Thibodeau or minutes or anything like that. This injury that happened to Cam Payne, it was a little bit of a freak accident that happened against the Detroit Pistons when he was in the game. And then we saw him head to the locker room. We had no idea what was going on with him or if he was even dealing with an injury, but we knew he wasn't okay. And then yesterday, the Knicks roll out this injury update, and it concerns everybody as soon as it comes out. Shout out to New York Basketball on the app X for giving us the following information. According to them, the Knicks have listed Cam Payne as doubtful for our next game against Houston with a strained left hamstring. But you also have to mention that Precious Achiuwa is still out with also a strained left hamstring. And according to NBA insider Steph Bondy with the New York Post, he states the following: Precious Achiuwa hasn't been cleared for practice yet, so I assume he won't be playing tonight's game against the Houston Rockets. Cam Payne is nicked up and was limited in today's practice. According to Tom Thibodeau, we'll see where he is before the game against Houston. That does not sound good, and that's why his status for tonight's game is doubtful. And if that's the case and he misses tonight's game, that means the Knicks have one less weapon on the bench to utilize. The Knicks bench is in absolute crisis mode right now. We are missing Precious Achiuwa. We are missing Mitchell Robinson. We are missing Landry Shamet. And now it looks like we're going to be missing Cam Payne. And because it's a hamstring injury, the same thing applies to him like with Precious Achiuwa. That's a very tricky and funny injury. You never know when it could act up again and cause problems or how long he's going to be out for. We don't know if it's a minor strain, a severe strain, or what's going on with him. As he continues to practice and goes through his routine, we'll start to see where he is and his status. But as of right now, it does sound like he's going to miss tonight's game against the Houston Rockets and potentially miss a few more games after that. A hamstring injury is not an injury that any guard or really any player wants to go through, because once you experience it and you come back, you don't know you're right until you go through a few games. You're likely going to be limited before you can ramp up and play your normal style. And for a player like Cam Payne, that's definitely going to be frustrating. But what's even more frustrating is now that the normal 8 players that Tom Thibodeau normally runs each and every game has now gone down to 7. I have been screaming at the top of my lungs to anybody who would listen that Tom Thibodeau must expand the rotation to at least 10 players and then utilize those 10 until he gets more players back. Once he gets Achiuwa back, Robinson, Shamet, and all of these players, then he can make adjustments and go to more players that he trusts. But right now, he needs to lean on his depth and his bench. What does that mean? He needs to play the rookies, Tyler Kolek, Pacome Dadier, and Ariel Hukporti. If we're missing all of these players, then I expect tonight against a young Houston Rockets team that we're going to show them our youth by playing our rookies. And hopefully that's what Tom Thibodeau is going to do. And according to CBS Sports, it seems like that's exactly where the Knicks are leaning to. According to them, Payne is unlikely to suit up Monday, though it shouldn't cause too many waves in the Knicks rotation, as he has averaged just 11.3 minutes per game over the last 3 outings. If the 30-year-old doesn't suit up Monday, Tyler Kolek and Pacome Dadier are candidates for a slight increase in minutes off the bench, right alongside Miles McBride. Shout out to CBS Sports for giving us the following updates about the Knicks and what they plan to do during tonight's game against the Houston Rockets. It's not really a surprise. You have to lean on your bench when you're missing players. And if the Knicks include all of their rookies in tonight's game, they will have effectively expanded their rotation to 10 players. Exactly what you need to do. When you do that, you're going to give the starters additional rest minutes, and that's going to help them in the long run. No starters going into each and every game moving forward should be playing more than 35 minutes a night. Let them play under 35 minutes, even less than that if you can, and give those additional minutes to the bench, to the rookies. And this is the main reason why. In the postseason, at some point in time, we're going to deal with something. Injury, illness, foul trouble. Something's going to happen that's going to make us go to our bench. And the best part of going to our bench is we're deep enough to trust whoever we add to the floor. But the biggest thing is, if you develop the youth and develop who you have, then come in those moments in the postseason when maybe the game is on the line. You'll have enough trust built into that rookie because you played him during the regular season, because you put him in situations just like this during the regular season. This is what you build these rookies up for. Hopefully, Tom Thibodeau understands that, and he's going to do that tonight because we cannot afford to play just 7 players. We really can't afford to play 8 players. We need to utilize our depth. We have it there. It's available. Why not utilize it? It's a robbery, a crime to have Kolek, Dadier, and Hukporti on the bench and not utilize them once, to not even give them a slight increase in their minutes. At this point in time, we have to do it. No other choice. Cameron Payne, out. Preston Achua, out. Mitchell Robinson, out. We need bodies. We can't run a 7-man rotation against Houston. If we do that, we're likely going to increase the chance of us getting more injuries, and we don't want to see that happen. All of the things happening right now is a sign for the Knicks and our organization. We may have a championship roster, but if we don't treat it like a championship roster, if we don't utilize our depth, if we continue to play the starters 40-plus minutes, we're not going to have that roster come the playoffs. And that's when we need it most. We saw what happened last year, playing the players like we've done, not expanding the rotation. I'm not saying it was the only factor, but it was definitely a contributing factor for why the Knicks had to deal with all of those injuries. We need to make sure we're protecting the players and doing a better job of taking care of their health, even though they might be able to go and they're not feeling that much pain from the injury. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, they're still dealing with an injury, and playing through injury will always lead to potentially more injuries. We don't want to deal with that. Not this year. Not with the championship roster on the line. With the championship on the line. Take care of the team. Take care of the roster. Expand the rotation. Tonight, I better see Kolek play 15-plus minutes. Dadier, 15-plus minutes. Ariel Hukporti, 15-plus minutes. Maybe 20 minutes just to see if he can be better than Jericho Sims. Because in my opinion, he already is on offense. Defensively, give him maybe 10 to 15 games under Tom Thibodeau. He'll get there. At least be on the same page as Jericho Sims. And if that happens, you can't deny him as at least a permanent backup center for this Knicks team. We're looking for players that get better each and every game. Hukporti is doing that. We're looking for a center that can be just as aggressive when Towns heads out of the game. Hukporti can do that, not only with his pick and roll, but if he can add a pick and pop to his game. And we saw recently he was working out with Karl Anthony Towns. So it's not a stretch of the imagination to think he could add that to his game. If he does, he'll be even more aggressive on offense and somebody else the Knicks would utilize off the bench. Jericho Sims, if you don't step up and increase what you can do on the offensive side of the ball, your spot's going to be taken by this rookie. And not taken because Tom Thibodeau likes the rookie more than you. It will have been taken because he's earned it. But am I worried about the Houston Rockets even though we're missing Cameron Payne? Not at all. Because even though we're missing Payne, we still have our 5 starters who are going to destroy the Rockets at each and every turn. And hopefully, if Thibodeau utilizes the bench, we can see the bench go off and see what they can do against a young Houston Rockets team. That's really the matchup for me that I want to watch tonight. Because when it comes to the starters, our starters against the Houston starters, maybe Jalen Green can go off and give you some threes. But other than him, I'm not worried about the Rockets. If anything, the Rockets better be worried about us. What are they going to do with Cat? What are they going to do with Jalen? What are they going to do with Josh Hart, the one-man fast break? Nothing. They're going to just sit there, take it, and watch what happens because there's nothing else to do. Not against this Knicks team. We may be down. Our bench may be in crisis. But what we do know how to do better than any team in the league is play through it all. Play through adversity and next man up mentality. We did it before. We're going to do it again. And tonight, I hope that next man up mentality shines on all of our rookies. But what about you guys? What do you think about this concerning update about Cam Payne being doubtful for tonight's game against the Houston Rockets as he's dealing with a strained left hamstring? Do you agree with me? Do you think the Knicks bench is in crisis mode at this point in time? Let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.